Hi guys, Mark here again with Exotic Car Play Place. I want to bring you into a little discussion about the do's and the don'ts of ownership of an E60 M5. Have you guys ever wondered what it takes to maintain an E60 M5 to ensure that you have a long, enjoyable life and ownership of an E60 M5, and more importantly, the engine and the drivetrain? But we don't often get into a lot of the specifics on proper break-in and ownership of an engine. And even more important, when you're driving an E60 M5, it happens to have a lot more power, has a lot more demand on it, and even more so, it happens to have a little bit more of a need to pay attention to the specific issues that kind of pop up, that can arise. So today, I'm going to give you guys the breakdown. We're going to talk about the top 8 items, the do's, the don'ts of an E60 M5 engine treatment. So let's get this started, everybody. And if there's any questions, I might add, guys, by the end of the video, if you have any questions on any of the specific topics that I brought up today, be sure to drop a line below. Also, be sure to subscribe. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So let's get rolling along. We're going to talk about the top 8 do's and don'ts. Well, how we're going to break this down is the top 4 do's and the top 4 don'ts. So let's get rolling. Do: always use the appropriate prescribed oil.
Rod bearings, failed vanos, and a host of other issues can be contributed or attested to the wrong type of oil. Make sure you use the right stuff, 1060 as prescribed.
Do: always limit your time near the red line or that high rev limit section that you happen to see on the tachometer. Do: always use 91 or better octane fuel.
The better the grade of fuel, the better running you'll get. Also, you'll less chance of clogging injectors and other fuel system parts.
Do: always let the car warm up properly before you set off. And even more important, you can drive the car when it's not totally warmed up. It's a question of how hard you drive the car, how high you rev the engine. So now we move into the don'ts. And so, if we're talking about the E60 M5, it's even more imperative that you look and focus on these don't factors when how you treat the E60 M5 engine. Everybody, probably if you've seen my videos in the past, you know that it is a quasi-dry sump. So the E60 M5 has a reasonable facsimile when we talk about dry sump engines, which means that when you're cornering, it's pulling oil out of a scavenge setup and supplying oil to areas that it needs it the most, especially around hard cornering and such. Well, the key to this being, so the first don't is, don't track the car hard or track it at all if you're running your oil on minimum oil level. Make sure that oil is topped up at least halfway to 3/4 on the range. That's going to ensure you get enough oil to those areas of the engine that need it the most when you're driving hard on the track. Don't modify the car excessively. Anytime you modify a factory setup, what you're doing is altering, going outside the engineered settings and design of that engine. There's a lot of smart people there that work at these manufacturers, and BMW hires some of the best engineers in the world to ensure that they put together a package that is a very high performance engine, but it keeps it within a tolerance. It makes it safe, drivable, high output, but also gives you a long lifespan. As soon as you start modifying an engine, you start moving the longevity out of that margin.
Now, there are some reputable tuners like Dynon, but be careful. You want to match the high-quality parts with this existing high-quality engine.
The next don't happens to be do not redline the engine when it's sitting in idle. Everybody's seen a lot of videos where guys are redlining the engine just to hear the sound of that engine sitting at idle to get a show, to put a show and excite the fans. And the last don't is kind of in line with driving it hard when it's cold. And it's also in line with don't redline at idle. And that is don't redline the car when it's cold. That's an absolute must not do. You don't want to run the engine hard when it's cold. There's various reasons for that.
It's a quick way to burn out the oil pump, Vanos lines, or possibly spin a rod bearing.
So everybody, I hope you really enjoyed this video. It's really a summary of the do's and the don'ts to ensure that you maintain a long life of ownership of the wonderful, legendary BMW E60 M5 S85 engine for years to come. You want to make sure that you do the right things, that you're not going to hurt the engine, and so that you can enjoy it for many, many years to come. So again, everybody, as always, be sure to subscribe, but we'll talk to you on the next one. And definitely don't forget to drop a line. If you have any questions, shoot it down in the comment section below. We'll catch you later. Bye-bye.